Hello and welcome. This is Little Wave with Your Stars Within. We are looking at an astrological update for October, November, just looking ahead into 2023 here. We are also in eclipse season. I'm sure many of you noticed the new moon eclipse on October the 14th that was at 21 degrees of Libra. So any planet or points around the 21 degree of cardinal signs would have been impacted. So that's 21 Libra, its opposite Aries, Capricorn, and Cancer. If you had planets or points in those spots, those are areas that are going to be transformed pretty significantly within the next 6 months. Eclipses have a very powerful changing, and they usually last about 6 months in terms of the time period it takes to have the full effect. We're coming into the full moon eclipse, the lunar eclipse, and that's going to be on October the 28th, so big lunar eclipse right by Halloween when the veil is thin. This is at 5 degrees Taurus. So we're in the Scorpio season, right? So the sun is at 5 degrees Scorpio and the moon is at 5 degrees Taurus for this eclipse. Now, what's really interesting is that while Jupiter is at 11 degrees Taurus, he's moving backwards. He's in retrograde motion. And so he's going to go as far back as 5. And that's where he's going to go forward from. So that's a pretty significant degree that we're going to continue to feel the effect of as he comes out of his retrograde at the end of December. In that opposition that happens in a full moon is that the sun is over in 5 degrees of Scorpio. And right around that sun is both Mercury and Mars at the 9 and 10 degree. So this is a lot of masculine energy. Sun, Mercury can be neutral, but pulled into whatever it's around, and Mars, god of war. So we have a lot of masculine energy on the one side, and we have the moon, but the moon is exaggerated, right? Jupiter's effect is often to make something bigger, to make us notice it or to experience it. He's blessings, but sometimes blessings come from making things big enough to notice. He's expansive. He's also the teacher or the guru planet, right? He brings us deep lessons that need to be understood, bigger, wider vision. And so there's a number of ways that people might experience this. If you have been all in the logic, all in the masculine realm, you might find that your emotions are screaming, that the feminine energy, whether that be within yourself or projected by the feminine energy in your life, is saying, pay attention, listen to the emotion, listen to the intuition. If on the other hand, you've been in the intuition and in the emotion, so much so that maybe it's ungrounded, unstable, drowning, then you may feel the strong pull of the logical, of the masculine energy here with the sun, Mercury, and Mars, saying, focus on what you can do, focus on what you can impact. And so there's this push-pull that's happening at the full moon, bringing everything to the surface, right? Bringing up any excess emotion, emotional issues, or emotional instability that might need to be dealt with. But because of Jupiter's blessing here, there's the opportunity for a deeper, bigger lesson, a greater understanding. For those who are, more grounded in their inner masculine and feminine, they may find a balance, or they may be learning and understanding something about the interplay and the dynamic between the logic and the intuition, between the masculine within and the feminine. There's also the possibility that the moon with the Jupiter comes to, because Jupiter is also masculine, comes to understand something about masculine energy or masculine behavior, come to understand maybe its origin or an underlying importance, so that the guru, right, the Jupiter, can help the moon to really grasp and understand something deeper about what the masculine energy is trying to convey. We can also look at this as the, Mercury, the mind, Mars, the willpower, and then we've got the emotion on the other side. And we've sort of got this, mind emotion system, right? The emotions are very interconnected with the thoughts. The intellect can have some impact as well, and that ultimately will determine our actions. And so we can find maybe where there's a lot of imbalance in our mind body system, or even where we're too attached to it, too identified with it. And I wrote some articles that might be helpful in understanding this concept a little bit better. So I encourage you to check them out on my website. There's a blog. But to understand that we tend to think, I am this body, I am these thoughts, I am this emotion, instead of, I am a consciousness inside of this body, witnessing this emotion, witnessing this thought. It is not who I am, right? Because who then is the witness? Who is the one that can watch in a detached way all that happens within and without, right? In the external and the internal world. And so there's an opportunity here for this deeper understanding of our system as this mind emotional system, how the thoughts and feelings interact, how the intellect can play a role, how this impacts our action. And maybe if we're lucky, if our blessing with Jupiter is big enough, we can begin to peel back this veil that says, this is who I am, and start to see, wait, if I can watch this, that's not me. Who is the watcher? And as we keep asking that question and peeling the layers, we can get closer and closer to that luminous center that is truly what we are. But we have to ask that question. We have to begin to witness and peel that back. And so in the higher expression, I think there's room to really start to see how all of these different parts, or systems, this machinery that we are, the emotional reaction, the automatic thought, don't have to be automatic and reactive, but instead can pause in witness and choose. So I think this is a lot of different ways in which this eclipse can be understood. I would also suggest really looking at what houses this is happening in, because while it's happening in the Taurus Scorpio axis, right, which is going to affect all of the fixed signs, so any planets or points, I would say from maybe 3 degrees to 12 or 13 degrees, because we've got that Mercury and Mars kind of widening the range, and Jupiter, who's at 11. Then I would say from there, we need to question what house it's in. So fixed signs, planets or points between 2 and 13 degrees of Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. Those are your fixed signs. And then look at the house axis, because that's going to help us understand what area of your life, where this is showing up in. Some other things to think about. Saturn is currently retrograde, and it's going to be going direct on November 4th. He's at that 0 Pisces, so he's going to pause right there and come back through the early degrees of Pisces going forward. So any planets or points at the early mutable signs, so Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Gemini. That's going to be where the lessons or the restriction, where some of the challenges are coming from, but also the maturation, where we're learning and being sort of forced to go through this slowly again and again, to walk it the hard way up the stairs. And we're going to really learn this. When you learn from Saturn, it's like you have grown there, you have earned it, and you know it. So that's coming direct, and we're going to be feeling that as we've been feeling all year. Pluto is now direct. He's going to be moving towards Aquarius. I know earlier this year we talked about, Pluto's in Aquarius, but he actually spent most of the year at the last degrees of Capricorn. So now as he goes forward, he's moving towards Aquarius more permanently. We'll see the effects of that more in 2024. We have Uranus, which is retrograde, also in Taurus, but further in Taurus. and is in the, like 21-ish degree in retrograde, and will be going direct at the end of January. So that'll be the last one to go forward in this group. Jupiter is retro, as we said, heading back to that 5 degree, and he will go forward at the end of December, as well as Neptune will also go direct at the end of, somewhere in December, as will Chiron. Chiron end of December as well. Mercury is going to have a retrograde in December, but then go forward in January. So you can see that a lot of retrogrades are coming to an end in that December to January timeframe. Even the ones, coming direct in December will take some time to really be in its movement forward again, and moving towards the degrees that it started with. So 2024, we really see the movement and the shifts from everything that we've been doing here in 2023, especially in this fall season, where really have been asked to allow whatever needs to come up, what needs to be released, what does not serve us anymore, to allow the movements that need to move from the unconscious into the conscious so that they can be released. And so we're in this, time period that is sort of the last of this next layer that's coming away. And in 2024, we're going to find out why these layers need to be pulled away. That movement, that new life, that forward motion, we're going to really feel in February of 2024. What's interesting is while Chiron goes direct at the end of December, he conjuncts with the North Node in February of 24. And we'll talk more about all of these different transits in future videos on those months. But, just kind of looking ahead, seeing that everything's going forward, we have this major conjunction that can really realign our path in many ways. So I think that there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot of propulsion coming, but right now we're still kind of working through the muck. So if you feel like you keep coming back to the same things, or, oh, when is this lesson, issue, whatever, going to be done? It is coming. It's slow going. These are a lot of retrograde planets who move very slowly, but it is happening. And we're going to really see the momentum and see the forward motion in 2024. So hang in there. I hope this was helpful. Please feel free to reach out if you want to take an individual look at your chart and where some of these transits are happening. Also, don't forget, I wrote a book, Sacred Astrology, The Psychology of Your Stars Within, that is available on Amazon and can really talk about these different axes and the house axes as well. So I hope that this was helpful. And I wish you a wonderful fall, and I will make more videos as we move into the winter. Bye.